All right, welcome back to Market Master. Let's just dive right into SpaceX. Now I've populated this SpaceX chart with a few different tools, and let's just be mindful that just because I have postulated that we could be making a low sometime in September before this stock has a major rebound. Let's go ahead and let's just take a look at what we can see for now. I'm just going to move this bars pattern out of the way so that we can take a look at this stock better. Doesn't look like it's wanting to, there we go. So we have a high at 225 and we started off at the 135, but the stock did not start trading until the low 150s, and this low 150 is exactly 180 degrees from 225 here, and also this 135 is 120 degrees from where we are today. And I want to talk about a little bit about this pricing structure and what we were seeing here lately. So I put this flag up sometime back just before the 7th where SpaceX was going to be brought on to the market in a historic manner that the NASDAQ has never done for a stock. However, Elon Musk and SpaceX has particular pull in the marketplace with its business models, and the fact that Elon Musk is quite a smart fellow and is capable of issuing value. So looking further now into our SpaceX stock here, we are also notably seeing how the market making its way from this 225 and all the way down now to 104 here. I wanted to point out, right, 104 is halfway across from 225, and I wanted to point out that I drew another line here. You can barely see it. It's this line right here. It's representing the 50% level, the 225 plus the 104. Add them together, and the 52 or the 50% level is 164. And let's just take a look at what we're talking about here. So we're stating right now that from that area we could see 164 to 169. And why is that? Well, we came down and we made a top in this channel here, if you can see 118 right here. And currently this day is sitting on 118 right now. So what I'm stating is, for this stock here, which I told you some days back that we would have some type of a bounce and a return back into this area here, that we would have some type of rebound. And of course the stock is starting to experience that. And a 360 turn from this 118 level, where we've seen it in the channel here, and it's made 3 days at 118 here before making a triple bottom here, 1, 2, and 3. And from there we've had a turnaround, and I've talked about the fact that we would start to see something like this. So from 118 we're stating that 165 is a median point where we could expect a rebound and a resistance level. We could certainly do a bounce up off of here, and then once that has occurred, sometime when Mercury has become conjunct with Jupiter, as you can see, Mercury is sitting here and Jupiter is sitting here, and in a few days Mercury on the 15th and 16th here, these two will be conjunct, and I expect that there should be some type of a swing top coming in there, and then of of course, the resumption of the downtrend. So let's go take a look at if we were to put this on here and state from this area here, we could certainly see a move back down into these low 70 and 60 level here. Now, does that have to happen? No, it doesn't, but 104, our current low here, one move down in the circle is 67 and 68. And that agrees very strongly with this area here. And our time frame is for the mid and late September period, where I expect a bottom to take place, and I wouldn't really say a violent reaction, but I would definitely state that we're going to be seeing a retest from this low level here at our 67, which is opposite our top right here at 225 here. So looking at this, not staying above this 60 and 70 level here, especially this area right in here. If we don't get above this area and gain some traction, then it is possible and likely that we spin down yet another circle and move down into the $39, $40 range. Will that happen? Not necessarily. But looking at this, we can see that 31 is conjunct 135. So 135 is our starting area here. I'm sorry if the square is in the way there. I'll try and move that out of the way. So our starting area 135 is here, and 31 on our square is here, obviously representing a very low level in the future here. So looking at how this has turned out, is it likely that we can see something like that take place? Well, it's certainly possible that we see something move down into that range. It doesn't necessarily mean it will, but as we've seen in many IPOs and stocks that have come out, there has typically been a tumultuous downtrend that comes off of these IPOs. They get hyped up, and then of course the large firms sell short their positions and short the entire market. And of course they have the wherewithal to manipulate I don't want to say manipulate, I'll take that back. They have the power and energy to sway the market or the market opinion temporarily. So looking at where SpaceX is today, moving up into this 164, and I'm stating that that's going to have to occur here within the next week to 2 weeks. We need to see this topping pattern take place, because if it does not take place, then we will be continuing to move in a very rapid maneuver back down, which is what we've been stipulating, that SpaceX and all these stocks and stuff are, well, they're overpriced. Right? Right now we don't have, SpaceX isn't generating the revenue that it's supposed to generate based upon the fact that it's building rockets, and building rockets is a very expensive business. And if you're not able to garner support, your business model is in a tough position. However, being that Elon does have an incredible amount of cash positions or investment, he's likely to be able to carry on with his business model. He's probably the only person or firm or business that's been able to objectively push the exploration of space or the firmament in that direction. He has that type of pull. But looking at this now, I don't want to be a doom and gloomer and state that this is a bummer stock and it's going to be moving down, because SpaceX really isn't a bummer stock. It's pushing, and it's pushing on the forefront of things that we don't typically do in society. Not many of us have been to the moon and explored the space realm. So this stock is a very interesting stock, and it's supported by a few different business models as well. Tesla, Starlink. He has quite a few business models that are credible and have disrupted many of the industries around us. So looking at this now, if we do not get above this resistance level and this 50%, which I've stated is this 164 level, if we're not able to get above and close above this for several days and weeks, then I'd be stating very strongly that there's another downward move. It doesn't necessarily have to move down into these areas. However, taking the model of what's happened and copying it, like these bars patterns here, does give us an idea that we could be seeing some more downward pressure. And if that were to occur, we would be seeing much lower prices, somewhere around in this 60, 68 level, because these prices are conjunct with our 104 bottom. It is also conjunct where we started when this stock first came out at 150. So this area here of these numbers are representing a lot of resistance or a lot of support. We could expect support. So we've had support here. We had support right at the starting here. You can see all the support that, right? And then right when I put that yellow flag in there on just prior to July 7th, when the stock was being listed on the NASDAQ 100, I stated to you that, you know, we need to stay above this area, and if we don't, then, you know, it's Humpty Dumpty and we go down. And at this point right now, the stock has actually dropped, I think it's 53% in its valuation. However, you know, that doesn't mean that the stock is dead. So yeah, it's been a 53% pullback so far, and that is very ripe, or the 50% area is extremely strong for a resistance and support level. So right now we're bouncing off of this as a support level. A 50% move down is a very strong level, and then moving up into this area here. And if you take a look again, the halfway point between our measuring tool showing us 50% is showing us a level right here at 154, right? So this 154 is right here. So this level here is acting as a very, very strong resistance level. And if we don't get above that, then it's definitely going to show some weakness, and I think we'll be moving down into the end of the year here, or not quite the end of the year, but into September. And then of course we're going to have a very, very, very strong bull market run, in my opinion. That's going to take place for, well, November, but more or less I state December will be an area where we can see, you know, stocks make a top, and will most likely and probably make a push down and then a move back up to our old support level at the 104 here, providing that we move up and stop at 165 here. So again, we can do 2 turns on the square up to our resistance level here before we can see the resumption of the bear market, before this stock finds equilibrium where everyday investors are okay with putting their money on Elon Musk stock. Being that, I mean, you know, it came out at the 150 level, that's a pretty expensive stock. And of course, look, all that hype was drained away. And if you were to have listened when we first started doing some stuff on SpaceX, I was stating to you to watch out that most of these IPOs, they lose 60 and 70% of their value. And so looking at that, what would that entail? Well, a good 60% maybe move down would bring us down into more the low 80s. You know, we could see something around that. Secondly, we could see something further where some IPOs have made a 70% move down, and that, like I said, would bring us down to the 66, 67, 68, and 69 level for September. So this is just something we're keeping in mind that could occur based on the past IPOs losing 70% or therein of their current market values when they come out. And I was very, very much, in my mind, in my opinion, I was very much concerned that we would see a move up and then a major push down. And of course, all of this is occurring just as we're stating. So just because we put these yellow trend lines that are exactly parallel, and we're using our 2 points here to find our third point, doesn't necessarily mean that we will be following and moving within these trend lines. However, using geometric trend lines has shown us that markets tend to stay within the confines of trend lines until either space or time, whatever you want to call this, has overbalanced, and then a trend change will of course ensue. So with June here, if let's just say let's just take the square, we're going to move 0, we're going to move it all the way to June. Where is that now? June 12th. Okay, well, we better go to the red ring because it's going down in price. So we would take this and we would align it with June 12th, June. There's 10th, there's the 12th. And the stock came out at around 152 therein. I mean, it was really close. It was 155, 149. So you could state that this area is exactly square, 90 degrees with our start date. And from there, if we get below this 107, we've sat on this 104 now, and moving down 102 and 97 here, this would push us into a major drop, and that major drop is going to bring us into the 60 and 70 zone right here. And I'm just very carefully watching this. I think there's another bull trap coming here as stocks are having a retreat now into the 50% level, which typically stocks and commodities and crypto typically like to come back up to their gravity center and sit within these confines. And then of course a period of a day, a week, and sometimes 3 weeks to a month can elapse, and then the resumption of the downtrend or the uptrend resumes. So I wanted to show you how we would look for that. So looking at our square, our next major change in trend would have come 45 degrees or days later, somewhere around the July 28th period. All right, so let's go have a look around July 28th. Did we have some type of trend change? Yeah, we did. We had a low. We had a bottom come in at 105, right, and 104. And that is exactly 90 degrees on our square here. So this is a longitude of price, and if price does not stay above this, then it is likely that if it drops below this longitudinal line here, between this square and this date here, then it is likely and possible that 67 comes on the radar. But first, we have to test again. We have to test a 90 degree at 113, right? Which we did. And the next one we have to test right here at 123, which of course we're doing. And now we're moving as well to the 128, 135 level here, and that's exactly and precisely where we've got to today as a 136. So this time frame is stating that $1.36 or 136 is conjunct this July area here, and for a change in trend. And we can certainly see that that is definitely what's going on right now. So how high can we go? Well, from this position, we would measure all these lines here, the 141 next, 147, 152, and opposite where we are right now would bring us to 159. And as you guys can see, that's this level right in here, and we definitely think that this 165 to 169 is our target area here, and this is conjunct the 225 of our old top here at 225. So I wanted to point that out. So if we come back up and we tag these areas, get ready to keep your stops very tight, because it's likely that another wave of selling is likely to occur. I hope you guys really appreciated this this output of what S&P, or sorry, the SpaceX is doing. My next transmission will be on the S&P 500 as well as Bitcoin. You've also seen our Python coded programs that we have just currently finished, and we use all of William Gann's work from all his books and courses, and I've coded them into 30 plus modules of our private predictive technology. And I've also shown you some outputs from that, and I've done that for free because here we are, it's a brand new predictive technology, and I want you to be able to judge it for yourself, tear it apart, follow it, see where it's right, see where it's wrong, and use that tool to make logical and sensible determinations. Now, that module that I built from W.D. Gann, I've been studying his work for 2 decades, and I finally did the programming for it in the Python language, which helps me immensely, because usually it takes me 4-5 weeks to make a forecast for an individual stock, commodity, or crypto, depending on how much data I have, as well as what I'm also faced with. I could be really busy in the marketplace with other things, so it does take me some time to do that. So this Python program that we've created under William Gann, all his work, it's not my work, it's all my teacher and my guide, it's all William Gann's work, and I own all his books and courses. And I can produce now, as I've showed you in real time, with our private predictive technology, within a couple of minutes, the program will run and provide systematic outputs for what to expect in the future of whatever year we're forecasting for. So we've done 2026, and I've showed you what will happen with stocks or the S&P 500. I've showed you what I think will happen with Bitcoin, and all of this agrees with my handwritten work that I've learned from William Gann like I said, I own all his books and courses, and I show you how to make yearly forecasts on your own and whatnot. Because you probably may not have a program like I have that has all of William's work in it. All right, so I want to show you just a little bit of what we can do moving forward and looking into the future. And I wanted you to just be safe, you know. I guess as they say, you know, when you get into investing, it's really good to know what you're doing and know what you're getting into. And first of all, you really need to cool your jets before you start firing on all cylinders, because like I said to you way back in the day here, watch out, we were going to see some major changes in trend. So here we were going to have a change in trend, or we did, on the 28th of July. Our next change in trend for this stock comes early September, which is about the 11th or 12th of September, where we could see another major change in trend. And that is possibly a retest of this lower level of 104 here, which is directly across from our timestamp on our natural square. And if we were to stay below this area, it would indicate weakness and a move down into the 70s. A move over this area at the 107 level here, and a strong closing would state to us that we would have another move for sure back up to the 150 level. However, it just seems that we're a little too early in the year for that right now. And after September, the next major event for SpaceX will occur about the 28th of October. So around this late part of October, we would start to see a move back up to about this 103, and directly across from this level is 103. So looking at what price and time and the configurations that we could certainly see, we have a blueprint for the foreseeable next few months. Anyways, brothers and sisters, peace and love. If you would like to get in contact with me, you can text me at 1-250-212-6922. And you can also email me at deboff13 gmail.com. You can certainly go on to Google and Google our channel and check out our website there. We have a multitude of things that you can check into, purchase, and learn. Peace and love, brothers and sisters.